booktube. My name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I am coming to you with another weekly reading vlog. Today is the 23rd of July and it is about 3:30 in the afternoon. So I am in the parking lot of the library. So the first little 10 seconds or whatever that you saw this video is what I'm looking at. Three flags. The one in the middle is of course Canada. The one on the right hand side is the province of Ontario's flag, and the one on the left side, the white one, is the town of Ajax's flag. In case you're curious. So anyway, yeah, I decided to come to the library because I don't have enough books to read. You know, I'm running low. I do these weekly reading, like I do my weekly TBRs, and I feel so far behind. You know, but it's fine. It just, coming to the library, I find to be very relaxing. I like to spend the time just walking around and having a look. You know, like it's great shopping or reading off of your own shelves and things like that, but there's just something about being in the library. So I don't know if you guys can hear the ping, ping, ping. It is raining pretty bad. They were actually calling for thunderstorms, and my niece and nephew were my nephew more so, was pretty upset because he couldn't go swimming. If it's just raining, it's fine. But as soon as there's thunder and lightning, no, everybody out of the pool. So yeah, he was a little bit upset that he couldn't go swimming. So anyway, this is the start of the weekly reading vlog. It is Sunday. Today is also day one of the page count reading challenge. So I will update you guys on that as we go through the week as well with how I'm doing. My goal is 1,000 pages. I hadn't hit 1,000 pages at all in a week this month because I do try to do it myself. I do have a little spreadsheet tracker that I try and keep track of, and I hadn't gotten, like, I hit around 700 or 800 a week, which is still pretty gosh darn good. But finally last week, I hit 1,000 pages, so I'm hoping to do it again this week, so we shall see. But anyway, my friends, let's head into the library and let's see what we can find. Hi friends, so welcome back. It is much later now, it's about 7 o'clock at night. I did the reading sprints over on Tiffany's channel, and unfortunately poor Tiffany is not feeling well, so we cut it short. They usually go till about 8 o'clock, but we had to cut it short because she's losing her voice, or she lost her voice, and yeah, that's a thing. So, you know. Anyway, I went to the library and I picked up a few books, so I thought I would show you guys the books. So my goal is to kind of like maybe try and get to one a week. We shall see. But three very different books, but that kind of shows like how different my reading taste is, like how varied my reading taste is, that I don't just kind of read one thing or one type of thing. So the first one is a middle grade book, and it's called Out of Range by Heidi. And this is the story of three sisters who used to be best friends, who are now no longer getting along, and their parents send them all to summer camp to try and like force them to start getting along with each other. So while at summer camp, they end up getting lost in the woods, and that's really all I know about the book. But it sounds super cute. Like it sounds like a really good summery book, which is exactly what I wanted. So yay on that one. And then I ended up picking up this one. Now I am trying to be good and trying to see about reading things in order. So I did check Goodreads to see if this was the first one, and it was. And that is Survival of the Fritters by Ginger Bolton. The first book in the Deputy Donut series, Deputy Donut Mystery. Emily Westhill runs the best donut shop in Fallingbrook, Wisconsin, alongside her retired police officer father-in-law and her tabby, Deputy Donut. But after murder claims a favorite customer, Emily can't rely on a sidekick to solve the crime or to stay alive. So it looks super, super cute. My library had like all of them, and I kind of really love this floppy trade paperback thingy, so yay on that one. And last but not least, so we have a middle grade book, a cozy mystery, and now we have a romantic suspense. B.J. Daniels' Stroke of Luck, the first book in the Sterling's Montana series. So yeah, this one looks really good. I love B.J. Daniels. I didn't even need to read what it was about because it's B.J. Daniels. She's like an auto-read author for me. He's hoping to bury the past. She's ready to settle the score, is all it says. So yeah, looks like it takes place in the wintertime based on like the snowy kind of cabins here. So yeah, I am looking forward to this one. Should be good. So those are the books that I picked up at the library. So, okay. Sorry. If you guys watched my vlog from last week, the two that went up last weekend, the one on Saturday and the one on Sunday, I was reading Diary of a War Bride, and I was reading Her Seal Bodyguard. You know, those are kind of, and I was kind of reading a couple of other books too. I hadn't yet started Murder at the Beacon Bake Shop. kind of all over the place, and I felt really discombobulated with my reading. Like I didn't know what I was doing. So I just kept wanting to pick things up. And I think the reason was because I wasn't thoroughly enjoying the books that I had picked. So I spent some time when I got back from the library today, and I went through my list of books that I have like put on my TBR, and I removed anything that I just was not interested in reading. And that's fine. Like if I haven't gotten to it yet, I reserve the right to go ahead and move stuff around, remove stuff if I don't want to. That's the whole point with this whole reading reset that I'm doing in the second half of the year, is to read stuff that I feel like reading. So that's what I did, and I'm super stoked now. I ended up putting Diary of a War Bride down because okay, so I think the reason I wasn't like jumping to pick it up, but I think it's because I've read it before. So I kind of know how it ends. Now it's a romance, of course I know how it ends, but I kind of know like the action stuff that ends up happening. And I just wasn't in the mood for it. Like, this month has been booktube at war, which is why I've been picking these war books up, but I haven't read any of them. I didn't read The Swiss Nurse. I didn't read the Jojo Moyes book. I decided to DNF that one, like, in the first chapter. This one, which is a 5-star read for me, I just wasn't in the mood for. And even for this week's TBR that I had talked about doing Never Forget Me by Marguerite Kay, I decided to scrap that one as well. Just not in the mood for books about war, and that is fine. I'm kind of gearing up for Garb August now anyway, so it's fine. So yeah, like I said, I reserve the right to move things around, and I was enjoying her Seal Bodyguard by Cindy Dees, but it was like, I don't know if that's, I was enjoying it, but I wasn't loving it. So yeah, we're kind of doing a reset this week again. I don't want to call it that. I kind of just looked through everything that I had over the last weeks. Because the other thing is that I've kind of fallen behind. Because I wasn't reading a ton at the beginning of the month. And I am now picking back up my reading and stuff like that. So I was feeling like I was falling behind and that I was struggling to catch up and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, let me show you what I'm currently reading. So during the one reading sprint that we did a lot of chatting on Tiffany. Well, the rest of us did. Poor Tiffany did not. She just gave us lots of thumbs up. I did start on audio. Whoops. Come on. Reading a Good Book by Tamara Berry. This is the first book in the By the Book mystery series. A lot of people really, really love this book. And so far I'm a chapter and a half in and I am enjoying it so far. So I am listening to this one on audio, but I do have the ebook copy for my Kobo. So yeah, but so far enjoying that one. And then my reading book, so the book that I have like only available as a print or ebook or whatever, it's Double Love, Sweet Valley High book number 1. Kind of in the mood for some nostalgia, you guys. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting to this one. This book is from last week's TBR, I think. I did actually have the physical edition, so I'm very happy about that. So yeah, so I am looking forward to getting to this one. I'll be starting this one tonight. And then also probably tonight I'll be reading a couple chapters of The Lost Heart Triplet by Nicole Helm. So very excited about this one as well. Yes, I had this one as an e-copy. If you watched my Harlequin project video, I'm like, oh yeah, I had this book, you know. But the one thing is that there is a giant book haul that will be coming to the channel next week. So not this week coming, but like, so you guys are going to see this on the Sunday. That following Wednesday, there will be it's 40 minutes long. And it's a used book haul. And I found this. This was a used book, you guys. It is in mint freaking condition. I don't think anybody even read it. And it was at the thrift store, and it was $1.50. So I grabbed it because I do like having the physical editions. So I will be reading this, starting this tonight. So yeah. So like I said, I did have it digitally, but I also now have a physical edition as well. So I can flip back and forth digital to physical, which is kind of nice to be able to have that option to do that. So yeah, so that's what I'm currently reading, my friends. That's my library books. So yeah, that's about it right now. This is the start. I don't know if I mentioned this in my my card clip from in front of the library, but this is, I think I did, the start of the page count reading challenge. So I will be sharing with you guys my page counts for the day, and yeah, it's exciting. And that's about it. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye guys. Morning, friends. Happy Monday. Today is the 24th of July, and I have no idea what time it is. think it's just after 9. I just filmed 3 videos. I had filmed my Monday video on the weekend and then realized that no, what I was doing for that Monday video, I meant to change. So I had to refilm it, but luckily it was like less than a 10-minute long video. So that's fine. That's my Pick It For Me video, but I wanted to do books specifically kind of geared towards more Garb August. So I did change that one around and refilmed it. So you guys will have already seen it. But since I'm still sitting here, I have one more video to film, but I'm going to be filming sitting on the floor behind me. But I thought since I'm still sitting here in this chair, I would just kind of do my quick update from yesterday. Not a lot of reading happened yesterday, my friends. I got a whopping total. Guys, I have been trying to film videos all morning and I just cannot talk. Coffee is definitely my friend this morning. Cheers. I read a whopping 62 pages yesterday, but I read the first 2 chapters in Buried in a Good Book. And then I read the first chapter from The Lost Heart Triplet, which already we've gotten like the first chapter and it's like, there's a murder victim. And I'm like, this is what I'm here for. And I read the first chapter of the Sweet Valley High book, which is a reread for me for like the 7,000th time. It's completely nostalgic and it's enjoyable and fun. So I am off work today. It is also my wedding anniversary today. So happy 13th anniversary to my husband. So we have to go out as soon as I'm done my filming. I actually want to upload Monday's video and then Garrett and I can go out. We have to go to the grocery store. It's our wedding anniversary, so let's like go do groceries, do laundry, and all those things, right? But then I plan on kind of spending the rest of the day just kind of sitting and relaxing and enjoying. So yeah, that's about it, you guys. I'm hoping to get a lot of reading done today, but I will update you guys, if not tonight, tomorrow. So I'll talk to you then. Bye. Hi friends, happy Wednesday. Today is the 26th of July. It is about 6 o'clock at night and I just filmed my weekly TBR video that went up on Friday. You guys are going to see this video on Sunday. And I thought since I was already sitting here, let's have a chat about my no good, horrible, very bad day. Gather around, kids. Let me tell you a story. So today was one of those days where if it was to go wrong, it was going to go wrong. Does that make sense? And we've all been there. So, you know, you take it all in stride. So essentially, today was my early day at work. I had to be at the office for 8 a.m. And I had set my alarm. My alarm did not go off. So I was late getting up. So then I was kind of in a bit of a rush. Garrett was in a bit of a mood when he woke up this morning. So unfortunately, we got into an argument. That's what happens. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. It was we were snipping at each other. Do you know what I mean? So that kind of set the mood off and was like, just made my drive to work. I was just annoyed and blah, blah, blah. I stopped at McDonald's and I got myself a coffee using the app on my phone, like the McDonald's app on my phone. And then I got to work, realized when I parked that I left my purse at home. So I had no driver's license, no insurance card, no nothing. Thankfully, I did not get pulled over at any point. That would have just been icing and a cherry on the cake of today. So, realized I didn't have my purse, but I truly, other than having my driver's license and my health card and stuff like that in case of an emergency, you know, that was the one thing I'm thinking about now. And thankfully I didn't think about that earlier because I would have been in a panicky mood all day. I really don't need my purse. So anyway, that's fine. I got out of the car, pulled into the parking lot, realized I didn't have my purse, grabbed my bag, like my lunch bag, and then my my tote bag that I bring with books because I remembered to bring my books to read at lunch, but I forgot my purse. Hashtag reader problems. So I get out of the car and I've kind of got my purse, right? And I'm like, or not my purse, my bag. And I had my coffee in my hand. It was only a medium, so it was only like that big. And I had it in my hand. I think y'all can see where this is going. Fell right over, smashed on the ground. Lid came off, coffee everywhere all over the parking garage, like right beside my car. Luckily, it wasn't inside my car, thankfully. It was only a black coffee, but still. I add my own cream when I get to work if anyone is interested. Because they never make it right, in my opinion. So anyway, that I'm just like, okay, this is just. So I get to work. I get upstairs. I do my work for the day. Lunchtime comes around. I'm super excited. Because I've been bringing like what I consider a very yummy lunch. I'm trying to be better with my eating. I brought hummus and crackers and carrot sticks and celery sticks and, you know, whatever. That was going to be my lunch. I go into my lunch bag and my little container of hummus had opened up and spilled all inside my lunch bag. Because of course it did. Clean that all up. Thankfully, well, not thankfully because I'm going to miss her, but one of the ladies at work today was her last day. And because it was her last day, they ordered pizza for lunch. So I was like, thankfully I've got food to eat. The rest of the day was better. It was just like, one thing after another, you know what I mean? So it was also a quiet day today at work. So I did get a bit of reading done, which was quite nice. So, because I have not been doing so great on my reading over the last few days. But let's start with yesterday. So last night I finished reading Double Love by Francine Pascal, Sweet Valley High, book number 1. I gave this 5 stars. I give it 5 stars only because it's the first book, and it was the start of a long-running series, and I am super, super stoked that I finished, that I read it, like that I have it, that this was like, there was a t-shirt that I actually saw on Etsy, and I really want to order it, but it was really expensive to ship to Canada, and it's this cover, and it says, I read the classics. That's how I feel. Like this one, the first Babysitters Club, the first Nancy Drew, both of them, they're all going to always get 5 stars from me, no matter how many times I reread them, because it's the nostalgic value for them. Now, going on later in the series, I will rate them a little bit differently. Like, I'll call a spade when Jessica's being Jessica, but overall, the first book will always get 5 stars, mostly for that nostalgic value. Whereas, and I know a lot of people have talked about this in terms of rating books, star ratings, that somebody else is going to read this and be like, that's a 0 or a 1-star book, but they might not have the nostalgic value attached to it the way that I do, right? So, or a lot of us might. So yeah, fun, 5 stars. Just as a side note, when I do my, because I've been reading the first book in all of these series this month, that when I do my wrap up for the month of July, these books, my throwback books, I'm not counting when I do my top 5 books. Just because if not, 4 of the 5 books are going to be Nancy Drew, Sweet Valley, and the Babysitters Club, right? So I've decided to omit these, but I'll talk about that more when I do my wrap up in early August. So that's what I finished yesterday. So not a lot of I think actually yesterday was a pretty decent reading day. I read about 130-ish pages. I'm still not doing great for the 1,000-page, the page count reading challenge, but we shall get there. So before I get into what I am currently reading, I did want to talk about this very briefly because on Monday, and I don't think I mentioned this in a video, I think I mentioned it. I mentioned it when I was on the live show on Monday night over on Storm's channel. So Garrett and I went to the thrift store on Monday. It was our wedding anniversary, and that's how I like to spend our wedding anniversary. And I was really disappointed. I'm not going back to this Value Village again because it was the one in Whitby. If anyone lives in the Durham region area, it is the one in Whitby on the main street, Dundas. I can't remember the name of it. I was extremely disappointed, beside the no frills. I'm talking like half of you live in the same town as me. So I went in, and of course I immediately go to look at the Harlequin books. There was no shelf for Harlequin Silhouette. There was no category romance shelf. Every other Value Village I've ever been in has a category romance shelf, like dedicated within the romance. Like usually it's a couple shelves that are dedicated to that. They did not have that. So it was kind of like they were hidden in amongst, which is fine, right? So I'm searching through. Oh, found one that I wanted, pulled it out. They wanted $3.99 for it. It was a book from like 1998. I'm like, I clearly think someone did not know what they were doing when they were labeling these books. So I went, all right, no thank you. I refuse to pay $4 for a category romance book. I'm sorry. Like a brand new book? Yes. A book from 1998? No. So Garrett and I went over and we started looking at like the kids' books. Garrett's looking for some old Gordon Corman books. Is that the guy's name? He read them when he was younger and he's missing a couple of them. So he likes to check to see if he can find them. We couldn't find anything there. Then as we were turning to leave, I looked and I saw a shelf with this spine. And I'm like, oh my God, Sweet Valley. Someone had brought in, the only one missing was number 1. Someone had brought in like the first 25 books, along with 2 of the super specials and 1 of the super thrillers. I was so excited. Garrett said to me, he's like, do you want to get all of them? I'm like, yes, I do, right? Until I pulled one off the shelf and realized it was also priced at $3.99. These books originally retailed for $2.25. How are you going to double the price in a thrift store you know, I was just absolutely, and I stepped away and I said, I can't do it. I'm not buying 20 books at $4 a pop. That's absolutely ludicrous, right? So I started walking away and Garrett's like, are you sure? I'm like, oh no, I'm absolutely sure I'm not buying all of them. But I did go back and I bought books 2, 3, and 4. And then because it's buy 4, get 1 free. And then I bought both of the special editions or whatever they're called. There's one that's like the winter vacation and then one summer vacation or something like that. So I bought both of those because those are hard to find. Like the regular series, these are all available on Kindle if I really, really want. The first 12 you need to pay for, but after book 12, they're all available on Kindle Unlimited. If you have Kindle Unlimited. And the ebook price is actually lower than the price in that store. But the super specials, the super editions, all those books are not available digitally. So there's something I would have to hunt out on thrift books. So that's the only reason I went back and got them. Plus, like, they were the original covers. And I'm just annoyed because you guys are a thrift store. I get that you're trying to make... Now, I know they're turning a profit. Like, let's be real. Like, they're not necessarily charity shops. They're not the Salvation Army or thrift or Goodwill or anything at all like that. This is like Value Village's Savers in the US. So I get that they're making money, you know, people donate their stuff to them, but to be charging $4, come on. If I saw this on the table at a garage sale, it'd be $1, like, I just think they would sell more if they lowered the prices. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not saying give it away. I'm not saying sell it for a quarter. $1.50, even $2. $2 I could have justified, but not $4. You know what I mean? So anyway, there's my rant on book pricing in thrift stores. So what am I currently reading? All right, so I got a lot listened to today on audio of Buried in a Good Book by Tamara Berry. I'm about 70-ish, 73% of the way through this one. I will finish it tomorrow. I am really enjoying it. I don't want to say too much on this one because I'm going to talk about it tomorrow when I finish it, but I'm really, really enjoying it. The other one that I'm currently reading, I started because I finished the Sweet Valley High. I restarted because I had started it, then put it aside to read the Sweet Valley. Now I'm jumping back into it. Is The Lost Heart Triplet by Nicole Helm. And this one I am enjoying. She is bringing in characters from previous series that she has done. You don't have to have read those previous series. It's just kind of like a crossover. So in this one, our main character, Zara Lee, she has a twin sister, Lost Heart Triplet. Yeah. Lost Heart Triplet? Triplet. So she has 2 sisters. Hazel Lee and her have been, like they live in the cabin together and whatever. And then Amber Lee is the sister who at 16 went missing. And in the very, very first chapter of this book, they find Amber Lee dead. And she recently passed away. It's not like she passed away when she was 16 and they found her skeleton. She recently passed away. And Hazel Lee is kind of being looked at for her murder. And there's this whole other thing going on. There's these 6 brothers, and I'm using air quotes because as the reader, you kind of find out what's happening with them. But there's these 6 brothers. So there's going to be 6 books in this series, one following each of the brothers. And they have just bought this ranch from Zara's father. And Zara's really angry because she thought the ranch was going to go to her. And instead it got sold to these 6 brothers who are kind of like being nice and letting her continue to work the ranch and live on the ranch. Same with the sister Hazel. So that's kind of the plot. There's this dead sister and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, so far it's Nicole Helm. I am really enjoying it. I'm about 30% of the way through that one now. And then I did start last night also on ebook, Her Alaskan Companion by, who's the author? Hazel something or other. The picture will be up here. It is a love inspired. So this is one of my picks for the Harlequin anticipated reads. I had a number of you mention like, oh, you hope I get to some of these. So not only am I sharing the book with you like, oh, these are the ones I'm looking forward to, but if I could read some of them and then talk about them here on the channel, more's the better, right? So I decided to go ahead and do that. So I've got 2 ebooks on the go and 1 audiobook. But these are relatively short to get through. So in this one, our main character, is it Liza? I think it's Liza. She and Heath is our male lead. She has moved to Alaska. There's this whole backstory. Okay, so I mentioned in my video that this was the 15th book in the Canine Companion series. And I'm like, this series can be completely read out of order. You don't have to read them because they're all in different locations, different blah, blah, blah. The only thing that ties them together are like service dogs or just dogs in general. Okay, for this one, I lied unintentionally. I didn't mean to. So this is not only part of the Canine Companion series, it's also part of the Heart Bay series by this author. So this is like the 4th book in that series, because I noticed that characters were starting to get mentioned in it, and mentioned in a way that made you think, I should know this. Because it was mentioned in passing, and it was in passing, that our female lead was switched at birth with someone else in this town. And I'm like, that's information I think I need. So I went and I looked, and I realized that it was the 4th book in this Heart's Bay series. So as soon as I read that it was book number 4, I'm like, okay, so clearly there's a backstory eventually I'm going to have to get to. But that is, again, information that is needed. Like, I really think that they should make that more prominent. Like, if you're reading the book, let's say it's this book, right? You know, if you open it up to this page, maybe instead of having something from the book, maybe put, like, book 4 in the Heart's Bay series and book blah, 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 or whatever. Or put it on the side, you know. I know that some of them used to do... Oh, see, this one does do it, but it doesn't tell you what number. So I'm just using this as an example. So it says, Triple Threat is the title. Then underneath it says The Art of Seduction. That's the name of the series. So why can't they continue to do that now? And then just put like a -3. So you know it's the 3rd book in that series. Is that difficult? But I guess now with everybody reading digital, it makes it a bit harder, right? So maybe that should be something that's on Amazon or Kobo or wherever you're buying the ebook. Okay, I'm just ranting about all the things today. Thrift book pricing, series issues. So yeah, anyway, all that to say, I am reading this one as well, and I am enjoying it, my friends. I'm about 30% of the way through it now. It's love inspired, so I started mentioning it. So she is a pregnant widow. Like, her husband died overseas in a military training accident. He was a military officer, and he died, and just before he passed away, they had bought this house. She's originally from Georgia, so she moved into this house in Alaska. It takes place in Alaska, of course, based on the title. And she meets the next door neighbor when his big golden doodle dog named Scout literally plows her over. And she, you know, through a set of circumstance, she agrees to like dog sit in exchange for him putting like a fence up and helping her get her business established. She's a photographer. So yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. It's really, really cute. And yeah, that's it, guys. This has been a longer clip. A lot of waffling on this one. My apologies. But yeah, I will check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Hi, friends. Happy Friday. Today is the 28th of July, and I am on my lunch break, and I thought I would sit down and have a quick chat with you guys. So I finished a book yesterday, which is the biggest reason why I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys. So yesterday I finished Buried in a Good Book by Tamara Berry. I gave this book 5 stars, you guys. So I majority listened to this on actually, I think I pretty much listened to the whole thing on audio. It was narrated by Tanya Eby, who I am a big fan of her narration. She always does such a great job. So this story was so good, and so many people who have read this are like, you're gonna love it, you're gonna love it. And I'm so glad I finally read it. So there is 3 books in total in this series. It's the By the Book Mystery Series. And books 1 and 2 are already out. Obviously, I read book number 1. And book 3, I think, either comes out later this year or early next year. I'm not absolutely certain. So anyway, the series is about our main character named Tess. And she is a very well-known, like, you know, New York Times best-selling, I don't want to necessarily say thriller writer, but definitely police procedural writer. So she writes about the same detective named Detective Gonzalez in all of her books. And she knows quite a bit about crime and about certain things because, of course, she does a lot of research for her books. So she's just coming off of a divorce. Her and her 14-year-old daughter are going to stay in this cabin in, like, middle of nowhere, Washington State, like a very, very small town in Washington State. And the cabin was willed to her by her grandfather, by Tessa's grandfather, and it has no electricity, no running water, no Wi-Fi, you know, none of the things. So the 14-year-old daughter is not exactly happy with the situation. To be fair, neither would I. But anyway, on their first day there, of course, a dead body appears in the little pond on the property. And the story goes from there. So it's Tess investigating, and this one kind of kept me guessing the whole way through, I have to say. When it was revealed, I was kind of like, oh, you know, like, okay, that was fun, you know, was not expecting that, but very, very much enjoyed it. What I do have to say about this book, though, is that there were some parts of it that were a little bit dark. Now, typically in a cozy mystery, and I'm saying typically, this isn't the case for all cozies, that the murder itself does not tend to be extremely violent. And I know that might sound weird because it's a murder, but I think you guys might know what I mean when I'm talking about cozy mysteries. It wasn't a poisoning. It wasn't a slip and, somebody was pushed. It wasn't, like, I don't want to say a simple gunshot. Something like that, right? In this case, our first victim lost their head, off with their head. And this, no, I don't want to reveal too much. There is another victim, and I don't want to say what happens to them. You're going to have to read the story. But it does involve wild animals. So that's what I'm going to say. So it felt darker to me than a typical cozy because of that aspect. Because the murders were more violent, if that makes sense. But what I think saved it from going too dark was the lightness. The author balanced it so well. Like, there was still some lightness and a bit of humor within the story. A lot of humor within the story, actually. There's a Bigfoot on the loose, in the story. It's hilarious, right? And, the cast of characters. Tess is a hoot. Her daughter is just the author herself has a teenage daughter because she wrote Gertrude perfectly. And I love the daughter's name, by the way. So yeah, it's like, the kind of very gruff sheriff in town and, the other deputies like Ivy and stuff like that. Like, they were all great. The characters were so well fleshed out. I loved this so much, and I cannot wait to jump into the second book. So, what am I currently reading? I'm currently reading all the things. So I'm still reading. I've done a little bit of reading today already. I am still reading The Lost Heart Triplet by Nicole Helm. I am just over halfway through this one, so yay on that. My goal is to get this one done this weekend, so yay. I am also still reading her Alaskan Companion by Heidi McCahan. This is a Love Inspired. It is a August new release. It's okay. I have a few issues with it. But overall, it's an enjoyable read. It's not making me want to DNF it, but it's not, it's got some flaws, and I'll talk about that when I get it done. I am like 60% of the way through this one, so I'm thinking I could potentially get this one done by tomorrow. So this one should get reviewed in this vlog. Fingers crossed. And I did start today my next audiobook, even though I have the physical edition here to show you, but I did start on audio today. Agatha Christie's The Murder at the Vicarage. This is the first Miss Marple, I think. It's the unofficial first Miss Marple. Like, there's the book, The 13 Problems, which I think, did I get my hands on it? I think I did get my hands on it. But that's like Miss Marple's first appearance in a short story. This is her in her first full-length novel. So, yeah, I'm only 4 chapters into this. The chapters are pretty short, and I think this is being narrated, if I'm correct on the narrator, it's Richard E. Grant, and he does a really good job, but it's, of course, a British, because it's Miss Marple. So I have had to slow down the narration just a tad to what I normally listen to it at, just so that way I'm making sure I'm getting the full story. But I am kind of following along with the book, and there's already been like a drawing, and I don't know why, because it didn't really show in the book, but it's like the vicar's house and then how close Miss Marple's house is to the vicar's house. So I guess maybe they just want to do that. I'm wondering if this was supposed to be at the very front of the book and it accidentally got stuck on book 26. Or page 26. I don't know. Oh wait, there's other pictures. Okay, so I'm going to have to continue listening or following along with the audio. That's pretty cool. You don't typically see them. Like, look at this, you guys. Like, all through the book. I did not. This is very cool. Sorry, I'm like just figuring all this out. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. We've already met Miss Marple again in this one. So I have read another Miss Marple, The 420 to Paddington, and I enjoyed it. I'm kind of thinking one of my goals this year into next year would be to maybe try and get to an Agatha Christie every month. So I think I'm going to start with the Marple series, and I want to try and get my hands on all the books in this edition because I think they're absolutely stunning. I will probably end up doing a reread of 420 to Paddington, and then I'll probably move on to Perrault, or I might just jump around wherever I want to, you know. I have read a couple. I've read one Perot, which was Murder on the Orient Express, which everybody has read. And the other one that I have read is, which is not either Perot or Marple, which is, And Then There Were None, which is still hands down probably one of my favorite books of all time. I have read it twice now, and if you asked me right now, I couldn't tell you who the killer was. So, like, that's got to tell you something, like, at how well it was written, that I can't remember reading the book a few years ago who the killer was. So, yeah, I think I'm going to try for an Agatha Christie every month. I'm probably going to jump around between Marple and Perot and to the standalone books, because I'm not one who generally likes to read series in order that way, like one after another after another. Like even just one a month, like, except for the Babysitters Club and Sweet Valley, those are different because they're such short reads. But something like this, I don't want to get bogged down on reading, all these Miss Marple books or all these Perot books or whatever, right? So anyway, yeah. But so far, really enjoying this one. And again, like, these editions are just absolutely stunning. In Agatha Christie's first novel featuring the beloved investigator Miss Marple, a dead body in a clergyman's study proves to the indomitable sleuth that no place, holy or otherwise, is a sanctuary from homicide. So, yay on this one. Yay! Anyway, guys, that is it. I will definitely pop back in tomorrow with an update. Like I said, I hope to get the Love Inspired book done. And, maybe I'll even get the this one done. I don't know if I'll get the Agatha Christie done, but we shall see. But anyway, guys, that is it. Until tomorrow. Talk to you then. Bye, guys. Hi friends, happy Saturday. Today is the 29th of July. Sorry if the camera's moving. Bernard is literally right in front of me. He was laying at the end of the bed, sound asleep, until I sat down here to do this. Now he wants all the attention. So it's about 8 o'clock at night, and I have a coffee, because that's the kind of day it's been. No, it's been a good day. Garrett and I went out today. We were out for a good, 4 hours or so. We took a drive up north, to hit some thrift stores, because that's clearly what we do now. Some people go antiquing, we look for books. So anyway, we did that, then we came home. It was raining all day, and then I did my live show starting at 2 o'clock until 5, and then we went out and grabbed dinner. We actually went to the grocery store and picked up a couple, frozen type meals, but we're really trying to be good with takeout and not order. And I know it's the preservatives and all those kind of things in frozen meals. I get that. I absolutely get that. But right now we're more on a cost saving measure. So yeah, takeout can be ridiculously expensive. So, because I don't think I did mention that he had gotten a job, and that job lasted all of 4 hours, because they hired him, the forklift license that he has, they thought he had a different one. So he's still looking for work. So keep us in your thoughts, you guys, that he can get a job real quick, because we could really use that. So anyway, cost saving measure. So cheers. And yes, I just said I went out and got books at the thrift store, but we have a budget, and I have a book buying budget every week. It's $25, and I could take my $25 and I could buy one brand new book, or a whole bunch of used books. So I always choose used books. So yeah, there is a book haul coming to my channel on Tuesday. And then I've bought a bunch of them lately, you guys. I've really hit some good deals and some good sales. So I actually have a lot, and I didn't want to do a 3-hour long book haul. So I think I'm going to break them up and do 15 or 20 books at a time, and put those videos out on Saturdays. So stay tuned for that coming this next Saturday. So anyway, I've been yammering on for 4 or 5 minutes now. So let's get into the book that I finished yesterday, because I did finish a book yesterday. So yesterday I finished reading her Alaskan Companion by Heidi McCahan, I think. So this is listed as book 15 in the Canine Companion series. So the Canine Companion series, for all the ones that I have read, have all been service dogs. This was not a service dog. He worked with a police officer, but he wasn't a police dog either. He was just this guy's pet. So our two main characters are Heath, he is the police officer, and Lexi. So I gave this book 3.5 stars. There was a few things I don't know. Let me get into it. So basically the plot of this story is that Lexi and Heath have both just moved to this Harts Bay little island community in Alaska, and they are next door neighbors to each other. And at the very beginning of the book, Heath's dog, the Golden Doodle, runs across the yard and knocks Lexi over. And that's kind of their meet cute, if you will. Her and Heath, not necessarily her and the dog. But anyway, so yeah, they meet, and he finds out immediately that she's pregnant. And she's actually a widow. Her husband was serving in the military, and he was killed in a training accident about 3 months earlier to the start of the story. So the story actually goes from like August to like Christmas, or just after Christmas. So it does span a good amount of time. And of course, this is love inspired, so it is a faith-based romance. And Heath has his own kind of things that he's dealing with. His father passed away from, I think it's Huntington's disease, and it is something that can be carried like generation to generation. Like him and his brother, could be carriers for this, and because of that reason, and he saw what his mother went through and what his father went through, he doesn't want to put somebody else through that, so he's kind of staying away from relationships. Because, and Lexi has stated, like, in their talks, and they become friends, and that eventually she would like to have more children. So that's kind of the basis of this story. The two of them end up falling in love, and yada, yada, yada. Here's my issues with this one. Her husband passed away 3 months before the start of the story. But yet she was almost immediately, like, thinking about Heath in a relationship type way. Now, I'm not here to judge anybody else's grieving process. I'm not here to do that at all. I just found it very, very quick. And I found the story dismissed his death a lot. She was a widow. Like, we were told that. She didn't act like again, I'm not here to judge anybody else. She didn't act like a widow. Like, it seemed that it would happen when it was convenient. She was kind of like flirting with Heath and things like that. But then her and her friends would be out, having dinner together, and this group of policemen walk in, and she sees the man in uniform, and she gets all emotional, and she has to rush outside because she's going to cry. So again, it was convenient. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I get kind of why maybe the author made her a pregnant widow, but to me, it was too soon. Like, it would have been nice maybe if she'd already had the baby, and maybe she now had a toddler, and this 1 or 2 year old, they've been by themselves since her husband's death a couple years earlier, and maybe now she's ready to move on. Like, there's one part where it was like 6 months since his death, and it was like at Thanksgiving, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm happy, I'm very content. It just, I don't know. I just didn't buy the fact that she even cared about her first husband. Does that make sense? Like, I didn't get, like, there's other stories I've read about widows who you can definitely tell they cared very much for their partner, for their, and there's a comment that she makes towards the end saying, oh, I'm always going to love him. You haven't showed that since the beginning of this book. Like, how am I saying? Anyway, that was the thing. The other thing, and this might seem silly, but he seemed to not care about the dog. He was constantly annoyed at the dog. He was constantly thinking, like, why do I have this dog? And I wanted to say, well, then why did you get the dog, sir? Like, what was the point of that? So you could have companionship? Like, the dog was running amok everywhere, and he would, like, work well with Lexi. But all I kept thinking throughout the book was, maybe you should get your dog obedience training. That might be a good idea. That's just a thing. So yeah, I mean, again, I gave it 3.5 stars. It sounds like I'm really bashing on the book, but I did like the story. I really liked the character of Lexi. I liked the way that faith was actually brought into this story. The love inspired to me because of personal religious beliefs. Sometimes, the way I look at them and I weigh them. But I really like this one. Like, he was really angry at God, for example. He was really angry at God because of what his father went through, of the suffering, and it wasn't fair. And, he kind of turned his back on, like, he didn't listen to me. Like, God didn't listen to me when I prayed, right? So why should I talk to him now about other things? And I understand that. I think that's kind of universal, that, even outside of if you are a Christian or whatever your belief is, if you send thoughts to the universe and those thoughts are, in your opinion, not heard, that can be very difficult to, you do lose your beliefs, you do lose your faith when, you know what I mean? And I appreciate that and I understand that. And so for me, it felt, very natural in terms of the story. And she was a believer, right? Like she would go to church and all the things. Although I didn't find this one to be as religious as some of them. So do keep that in mind. Anyway, that is that. So I'm reading all of the same books that I talked about yesterday, but because I finished this love inspired book, I did start another one from my Harlequin new release list. And that is, pardon me, I've got the hiccups, The Rancher Meets His Match by J. Margot Critch. This is the second book in the Texas Cattlemen's Club, something dating and diamonds and dating and apps. It's all about online dating, essentially. Like she created this app, and anyway, this is the second book, and so far I'm about a chapter and a half into it, which doesn't sound like much, but I'm almost 20% of the way through. Like, these are longer chapters, so I am enjoying this one so far. Yes, I have read this author before, and I really, really like her work. But anyway, guys, that is it. Like I said, it's just after 8. I'm going to get this vlog edited and posted for tomorrow. You guys will, of course, see it on Sunday. I hope you liked it. I'm not sure how many clips I got, but touching on the 1,000-page or the page count reading challenge, I did hit my 1,000 pages, or I will hit my 1,000 pages before the end of the night. I did some reading during sprints today, and yeah, I think I only needed, as of today, a little over 50 pages, which I'm pretty sure I already got. So yeah, it was a good challenge for me. I got my 1,000 pages. I'm very happy about that. Tomorrow is the 30th, and then Monday's the 31st, and then the 1st of August is on Tuesday, and Garb August starts, my friend, so I'm super excited about that. But anyway, guys, I'm going to turn the camera on so we can end on the cuteness that is Bernard, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye. As promised, the cuteness that is Bernard. Upside down B. Oh, you're a funny guy. Oh, you're a funny guy. He's purring, actually, if you can see his little belly going up and down. He purrs really, really, I always say he purrs hard. His whole little body shakes when he purrs, but he's laying in such a way that I want to rub his tummy, but it's a trap, people. It's always a trap. Anyway, guys, that's it. Talk to you later. Bye.